welcome to another edition of Treasure Tuesday.
Yay!
Today's a very special episode of Treasure Tuesday, not only because I have the one and only Jeanne here.
Hello!
Hello! This is our debut series of something I'm doing once a month where I am interviewing my favorite people.
That's me!
That's her! So to kick this baby off, if you're somebody who is maybe stuck in your life and you would love to start your own business, maybe you're working in the corporate world or you're not working anywhere, but you have something inside of you that wants to come through in the world, you want to make a living doing what you absolutely love, then this is the video for you. Jeanne is a magnificent example of somebody who was living a life in the corporate world, and I'll let you share your story on this if you're open to it. And really living a life that was incongruent with her soul. And I've witnessed her through the years very strategically, very lovingly, very clearly make way towards what she not only wants to create, but to do it full blast. She has a really successful business, jewelry business. So I would love to start by just asking you a little bit about your story. Like, how did you go from working, we both worked at Warner Brother Records. How did you go from working at Warner Brother Records into having a thriving business? And she has 30,000 subscribers on, or followers on Instagram, and you're just a powerhouse. How did it start?
Well, it started a long time ago. No. Yes, it started in corporate America, and it was fabulous. You know, we had a really good time working in corporate America, and especially in the record industry. But you know, when I was working in corporate America and at Warner Records, it was really fabulous, and I was running the advertising department. But there was a connection that wasn't being made for me and my happiness. I wasn't happy. I was going into work, I was doing great things there, but I wasn't coming home fulfilled.
And you were in the marketing and advertising department?
Marketing and advertising.
So she was running the advertising department.
Yes, for many years. And then after Warner, I moved to a full service advertising agency because I thought, well, you know what, maybe it is the record industry, and so if I go work at an advertising agency, it's gonna be better. And it wasn't. It was great in the beginning because it was new, but then I was up against my same, like, feeling trapped and feeling like it wasn't the place I was meant to be.
Right.
And so in this, one day I took a Groupon class to make mala beads. And I did it just for fun, you know, just to fuel my own soul. And I loved making mala beads.
Yeah.
So every weekend, instead of like going out to happy hour, I was actually coming home and like making mala beads and chanting mantras and just really tapping into what was making me happy. And so, you know, you only really need like maybe 3 mala beads. And so to give me a reason to make more mala beads, as well as to really strengthen a spiritual practice, I went around, and if someone commented on my mala bead, I would check in with myself and say, you know what, okay, and then I would gift them the mala bead.
I remember this. I was on the receiving end of one of those. I think 2 of those. And I love that about you. I love that you would feel so good giving these malas away after having poured so much heart into making them.
Yeah, and it was so rewarding. And like with each mala I made, they got more beautiful and more beautiful and more beautiful. Therefore, my attachment to them got like tighter and tighter. And so with each one, it was really a practice of letting go. And a practice of letting go of attachment to things. And so I practiced this for like a good 6-7 months, and it was wonderful. And you know, one day in the shower, I had this idea.
She has all her brilliant ideas in the shower.
All my brilliant ideas come in the shower.
For something as a gift one day, she bought me this waterproof pad of
it's
paper
called
with
Aqua Notes. I highly recommend it because you can literally I think their advertising line is like, don't let those ideas go down the drain.
Totally. Jason and I write little love notes on there for each other. You can use it for whatever, but it's freaking brilliant.
Yeah, so in the shower that morning, I was like, I should turn this into a business. And when I had that thought, it was like this yes in my heart. It was just like, yes! I get to use, like, it's like a creative project. I get to use everything that I just, I practice on other people's brands and for me. And it was such a heartfelt yes. And then, of course, when I got out of the shower and I was going to implement it, all my fears and everything came in as well. But
take note, that's a natural response to going in the direction of your dreams. So rather than running the other way, which is what most people do, go, yes, I'm on the right track, I'm pushing up against my comfort zone.
Yeah. And so I did. I took everything that I had learned and had implemented for other people's brands and started putting it to my own brand. And the moment that I started building my own business, as I was still working at the advertising agency, it made going into work every day, fueling someone else's dream, much more bearable because I now had a clear path. I knew what I was meant to do, which was spread love and joy and inspiration through the beauty of jewelry. And I was creating my own business. And that is such a key thing because I've been there. Like I've worked in corporate America like my whole life up until I started my own jewelry business. And having something of your own or having something of my own really gave me a sense of purpose.
Yes.
And when I started tapping into my own sense of purpose, then everything else in my life was okay. Like it gave me permission to do everything else and that be okay.
So I love what you're saying because oftentimes we hear, I've heard many teachers say this, and this works for some people, is you have to totally abandon what you're doing now and jump ship and run in the direction of your dream and just leap without a net. And that works for some people, need that instant fire and whew. I love what you're saying because that's how I've needed to do it as well. It was gradual. It was like having this vision in the future and moving towards it step by step without totally busting the nervous system, right? Like without all the stress. And I mean, there's stress involved in everything in life, but just to move forward in a way that's actually soothing and clear and gradual and empowering. And there's a readiness once you leap.
And also, the fact that I was able to fund, through working for someone else, fund my business as it got bigger and bigger and bigger. As Veronica just said, it takes the stress out. So here I am now, and I have a thriving jewelry business, and it's absolutely amazing, and I just love my life, and
I love it. That's why I'm just blown away. I have a lot of questions, and we just finished Mindful YouTube University, and there were a lot of questions from people who have a dream like you did. To start a business, but they don't have a social media following. They have literally not started. They want to be coaches, whatever it is, and they haven't even begun that journey. So I have a few questions for you in that arena.
I love answering questions.
Yes. So my question is, how did you start? Like, what was your first step in terms of, was it social media?
Absolutely. Okay. Of course, I built my website and I got all the tools in line for my jewelry business. Is
a website essential today?
Well, for a product-based business, it is.
Okay.
And there's many things, for a product-based business, especially like a jewelry designer or, like home goods, Etsy is a really good place to start. So you don't have to build a website. I just was very experienced in building a website, so I chose to go that route. But definitely Etsy is a really good place to start, just to start getting the sales funnel together. And then moving to a next kind of step is maybe even Squarespace is a very easy platform to use, WordPress and stuff like that.
What if you're service-based?
Service-based,
if you're a coach or...
I think for a service-based or a coach, a website is absolutely a necessity to start off with. Because for a service, what people are doing is they're buying into you. They're buying into your lifestyle. They're buying into the way that you are living and being and breathing in whatever your niche is. So having a website where they can go to and say, okay, well, great, who is this person? How can I read about her, him or her? What is her aesthetic? What is she teaching? What is she offering? And then the next place people go are to your social media sites. And so it's really important as you're developing your website, you're also developing your Instagram page and your Facebook page. And also a Yelp page as well for a service is very important. And so, and when you start thinking like that, you're thinking about, okay, well, what is my marketing and my branding of my business? And these are really smart things to start thinking about as a whole at the same time.
I have a question because I often see people leap into social media and I go to their pages and they're just like all over the map and I literally, it's so, I don't even know what's going on there. No consistency. And
or
so
no story, really.
No story, no consistency. I don't know what the person's about, so I don't subscribe, I don't follow them. It's the same one.
You turn off, you move on.
Too much. It's like, where am I? Clarity basically creates non-action. Or lack of clarity creates non-action, right? So how do you, so it's not just about creating social media then,
it's about understanding your brand, really. And one of the best places to start building your brand is Instagram, because Instagram is a visual platform. It's all about images. And when you're building a brand and you're thinking about the essence of, what is it? So if I have a product base or a product, first, what I'm thinking about is, okay, who is my target market? So who am I selling to? And then, for jewelry, for me, I make yoga inspired jewelry. So my target market are women, and I make women's jewelry, women that do yoga. Women that meditate. I make malas, meditation
I'm like her
tools.
Ideal client.
You are I'm my ideal client too. It was a little easy for me. Women that live a healthy lifestyle, women that, just are out in the world being more mindful. And so that's the lifestyle and the brand I created. So I start thinking about the essence of, okay, well, what does my client do? Well, they practice yoga, they eat healthy food, they drink green juice. So in my page, mixed in with my jewelry, I have pictures of women doing yoga. I have pictures of me drinking my green juice. Sometimes, and this is being a business, in a business mind, is like, sometimes I'll see a green juice and I might not buy that necessarily for me to drink, but it's to take a picture because I know that it's and I put my mala next to it. It's a prop. Right. And then of course the benefit of that is I get to drink it afterwards. But the main purpose of it was I am always thinking about my target customer and what is the lifestyle they're living and how can I create images that speak to them, because when they're on their newsfeed and before they've even chosen to follow me, they come to my page and they see images that relate to their lifestyle, that speak to them. They're gonna follow me because they're gonna know that every single time Jeanne Berger Jewelry posts an image, it's gonna be an image that speaks to them, inspires them, or invokes a feeling within them.
Is it just an image, or do you write story and copy as well?
So story and copy absolutely come along with that as well. Being really authentic. And Veronica, you're like the master at authentic expression and copy, and
just lay it all out on the table. Just let everyone know what's going on.
Everything. But no, that also is a really big factor as well, because social media is an organic, it's all about authentic communication. And so it's not necessarily hard selling all the time. That's maybe 20%, and then the other 80% is about just sharing.
And that creates that connection, right?
Absolutely. And then, if you're a service-based business, the essence of developing your essence on Instagram is, okay, well, what is it that I like? What is my lifestyle? Because for a product, you're thinking about, you're building your essence and brand to your target customer. But for a service base, you also want to think about your target customer, but ultimately they're buying your service. So
it's different for product versus service.
I think so, yeah. Cool. So then you start thinking about, okay, well, if I'm selling myself and I'm a life coach, then what is it that inspires me every day? Do I love yoga? Do I love green juices? Am I healthy? Do I love music? Am I a coach that works with artists and creatives only? So then think about, okay, well, what inspires me? Why do I want to work with artists and creative? Well, probably because I'm an artist and a creative. So what is that in the music industry?
Yeah.
Is there pictures of music? And, so really about thinking about building your brand in essence, about what is your daily life, and then translating that into a visual pictures for your Instagram page. And then once you have that, you can start looking at your Instagram page and you start seeing your brand come alive, and you're like, wait, cool, so how can I take this essence and now put that on my website, and now, of course, feed it into Facebook, and then also how do I live and breathe and walk that essence as well? Then you get a congruency, and then your marketing, branding, and all of that really starts coming alive.
I love it. So the first thing people do then is they get on social media. If they have if you have no idea what your brand is, and tell me if this is correct.
Okay.
If you have no idea what your brand is, even the word is like, what is a brand? What does that mean? The first step would be to get on social media and just start sharing. If you're a service-based business, like you're a coach, then to start sharing what you love on social media. Maybe even put quotes and images and things that really inspire you. If you're a product-based business, there's some of that, but mostly it's focused on what is my target market, who's buying my product, and what do they love, and demonstrating that on your page. And then after a certain time, then you start to notice there's a thread line.
Absolutely. You'll start seeing your thread line just start formulating. And then also, go and do research as well. Research really important. Before you jump in, go and find 5 Instagram pages that are your same market, your same niche, and see what they're doing. And get inspired, be like, oh, look, and start looking to see their thread line, because then you can start to understand how that thread starts to build itself when you start going and looking for it in other people's pages.
And then color, I notice you taught me this, about the colors, to pick 3 colors or...
Yeah, so your color palette, because when someone comes to your Instagram page, it's all visual. And so you want your eye, when you're looking at your page, to have a consistent flow. It's not jolted.
Exactly. It doesn't create that confusion.
It doesn't create confusion. And so my rule of thumb is, in any of those amazing, I use the Photoshop Express is one of my favorite apps to do all the filters. But in Instagram or any of the other apps,
WordSwag is good too.
WordSwag is great for making quotes. Pick 2 filters. And then you always stick with those 2 filters, because then you're going to start seeing a color palette of that filter start taking place. And so with me, first I sell jewelry, so I don't put filters over my jewelry pictures, but what I do is I will bump up the contrast to make the vibrant colors even a little bit more vibrant. And then for pictures of me or any other pictures, I think it's called Autumn in Photoshop Express. And so Autumn has this vignette around it, and it's great. So, and it's very bright and bold and vibrant as well. So when you go and look at my page, you're gonna see just bold, bright colors. And also I use gemstones, and gemstones are very bold, bright. And my personality is very bold and bright as well. So there you start seeing me coming through my jewelry, and then the natural essence of the gemstones coming through the jewelry, and then the color palette of my page, and it all just works.
I love it. So if somebody's just starting out, they basically, I got your backs, people, by the way, because I'm thinking of, I'm very passionate about helping people and making sure that those who feel like there's no way out of where you are, and that what you have inside isn't monetizable, you're not able to make a living doing it, or there's just no way out of your current circumstances. It's really not true, because both of us have not only declared but created incredible, amazing, beautiful, vibrant, prosperous lives doing what we love, not overnight, but gradually. And this video is the first step. It's a first step to creating that window, that doorway into moving forward. So what I hear you saying is to create your social media presence, to be clear about what your brand is. And if you don't know what that is, then just start sharing what you love, start discovering and exploring that, and kind of discover over maybe a month or so of posts. How often a day would you suggest posting on Instagram?
I would just start once a day. Okay. Once or twice a day.
Yeah. And so then at the end of the month, you'd have 30 or 60 images, quotes, and so you start to see what your essence is, what your brand is.
Yeah.
Then what would be the next step? Because you have created, I don't know, like 30,000 people on Instagram in a very short time, like 3 years?
2.5.
2.5 years. So what are you doing that I'm not doing?
Well, once you have your page established, the one most impactful way that I have grown my following is through collaborating with social influencers. And what that means is, social influencer isn't a big celebrity. It's not a really big blogger. It's everyday people. So Veronica is a social influencer.
Hi.
I am a social influencer.
So it could be anyone.
Yeah.
Is there is there a number or a limit that makes someone a social influencer?
No, not in today's market. So, what is really defining what a social influencer is someone that has a passion and that they're sharing it on social media and they're starting to build their tribe. They're starting to build their following. And then as their following is being built, they're getting inspired even more because now they have people like to talk to and they're being seen. And so it's such I love it. It's such a beautiful dance of authenticity because I started with 0 followers.
Yeah. Well, you probably had one. I
probably had one. Ronnie was probably my first follower. Or actually, no, you weren't even on Instagram yet.
Oh, you're right. You got me on Instagram. So
I was your first follower.
Yeah, totally.
But it was like I started with 0, but I started sharing something that was a passion of mine. And then it started growing and growing and growing. And so I started collaborating with other pages. And I started reaching out to them and being like, hey, you know what? You have 200 followers. I have 200 followers. I started with other businesses, other products. Look, I love your product, and there's so many conscious products out there. If I give you a shout out, will you give me a shout out? And they were always like, absolutely. So like my 200 followers, I introduced them to this product, and then their 200 followers got introduced to me.
I love this. Is so not intimidating. I'm not someone who typically moves this way, and I find this so brilliant because you're not saying reach out to someone with 10,000 or 100,000 or 1 million subscribers or followers or subscribers, but just 200.
Yeah.
Like someone who's also building their brand.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
My rule of thumb is I reach out, so when I first started, say when I had 500 followers, I would start reaching out to yoga influencers that had maybe 1,500 followers. So I would always go about 1,000 followers over than what I had because then we were on the same playing game.
Yeah.
And pretty much everybody was like, absolutely. So I'd say, hey, can I send you, one of my bracelets and, in turn, will you wear it and shout it out? And they were so excited to receive jewelry.
What did you do when someone didn't? It's like, what do you do if like someone's like no, or they don't want to do it? Like, is there a protocol?
Well, and then so I say, okay, well, thank you so much for answering my email. And in the future, if you ever want to collaborate together, I'm always here.
Nice. And if they don't reply, do you send them another note?
If they don't reply to the first one, in the beginning, I didn't, but then as I started growing, what I started finding was there's so many people that reach out to me now, and I'm just busy. And I get requests all the time to be a sponsor on a yoga challenge or to collaborate with others. And sometimes I just don't answer because I have so much on my plate. But then that person will email me again the next month. And at that moment, if I don't have anything on my plate, then I can actually see the email and be like, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So first of all, don't take it personally if someone does not respond because it has nothing to do with you.
That's a rule of thumb in life in general.
Yeah.
Nothing's personal, and that's where we can get tripped up. I love this. I love that you're at the other end of it, so you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now me speaking to Jeanne when she had 500 followers, I always say absolutely follow up. Don't hound them. Be very gracious with it. But you can definitely send a second email, maybe like 30 days later, 20 days later, and be like, hey, just want to follow up on the email. I really love your page, and I just really see the power of us collaborating together. Are you open to this? Let me know. So
awesome. I thank you, and you've been like giving us so much.
Yeah.
So if somebody, I know you have an amazing course coming up or a webinar.
I do. So social influencer marketing is something that I love to talk about, and my partner and I, Lauren, she's the owner and designer of Jewels of Saraswati, we have put together an amazing masterclass, and it's all about tapping into the power of social influencer marketing and how you can use this for your own business. And so we're going to be talking about, how to build relationships with the social influencers, how to find them, where do you even start to find them? When you are working with them, how to track, the engagement, and how to understand what types of influencers you want to work with and all the different ways you can work with them. So it's going to be just juicy content. We're going to talk a lot about the why. We're going to get into the how-tos, and it's going to be really fabulous.
Yeah,
so,
it will be fabulous because she and Lauren are leading it, and you guys are amazing.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun too.
Yeah. So where do they find you?
Oh, okay. Well, you can sign up right now at this amazing URL that Veronica's going to put in my hands.
It just magically appeared. Wow.
I love this URL. You're such a good URL. No, but really seriously, you can sign up below at the link. Come join us. It's just going to be absolutely amazing.
I'll be there.
Veronica will be there. And I just love sharing what has worked for me so I can inspire others to just feel more empowered in their business and in their life.
Awesome. Thank you so
Yay,
much. This is so meaningful to me because I know that our world is changing right now. It's no longer this conglomerate corporate, like you don't have to be part of this huge machine in order to thrive, and we're examples of this.
Yeah.
So it's just about starting, and it takes that first step, and I feel like you're giving us a very powerful first step. And to summarize all of this, if you could take one gem from this conversation and just bring it forward, like what's one gem someone could start with, aside from obviously going to the webinar?
Just in starting to understand your social media platform, I really think it's about understanding the essence of your brand, and that's always the first step. Because when you understand what you're sharing, then when you're sharing it, it's gonna become very clear, and then the person receiving it is actually going to take action. Nice. So just, really understanding your brand, do research, go look at other, your niche market and see what others are doing, and then grab inspiration from there, but then tap back into your own self, because you have all the answers within you.
Yes.
And you know what you need and what is going to come through authentically for you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for everything. You just gave us so much value, and I know you guys are like, thank you, because this woman is a goddess. Any last words to our peeps?
Oh, I think what I want to say is you got this. You got this.
You got this.
You got this.
And she knows you got this.
Yes, I believe in you. You got
this.
You got
this. You got this. Oh.